Good morning, everybody. Cheers. Welcome to today's disaster. Coffee. Wow. So, I've lost a little doodad, a little thingamawatchet for my camera mounting thing onto my little dolly tripod-y thing, and I can't mount my camera on it, which means I just had to quickly jerry-rig this very bad setup for you guys to be able to see, guys and girls to be able to see the Whopper, my Whopper, and it's not going to work. Firstly, I can't even get it in focus. Secondly, you can see all the stuff in the background. I've got nothing to put behind it, and yeah, and I can't even autofocus on it because it's just too bright and blurry. So yeah, anyway, and the time is wrong. Yeah, so hi everyone, welcome to another unexpected, unpredictable stream. I had a shocking night's sleep, and so I've been up since really early, so I started coding on this already. Next thing I knew, I'd done a whole bunch of stuff that I was planning on doing on stream. I've still got more to do, it's okay, and I can show you what I've done. And I've got something on my glasses, and I'm exhausted, and it's gonna be one of those streams. That's all I can say. How are you all? I hope you're all well. Sorry about that crazy start to the stream. Yeah. Coding on a little sleep. Well, coding on a stream. Coding on a little sleep. Not enough coffee, or not yet. I mean, you know, coding in Arduino. I've got like all the buzzers going off. Sorry about that noise, if that noise just annoyed anyone. I need more coffee. So, I released more Whoppers. Woo! Very exciting. I need to make more. I've got parts on the way. I'm out of parts again. Believe it or not, I ran out of buttons and headers because I miscounted. So that's really annoying. But other than that, I've released more Whoppers, and I've shipped quite a few. And I've now given options for my Whoppers to get it with a TinyS2 or a TinyS3 instead of a Tiny Pico if you want. And then it occurred to me, well, the code would work anyway-ish, except you have to go and change some buttons and stuff. So what I've done instead is, and I'll show you, oh, that's interesting. Haven't changed at all. So I'm putting in, will that work? So I've been putting in a whole bunch of defines. So if it recognizes it's running on a TinyS3, it'll set up the I/O correctly and stuff like that. None of this is not unexpected anymore. Well, it'd be unexpected if my stream just ran smoothly for once, but that's okay. Right, coding on no coffee is worse than coding on coffee. What? Coding on no. Coding on coffee is good. It's not bad. No. Anyway, so before we get into the code, so my Whopper, it's the same. I ended up, so on a stream a few weeks ago, I started redesigning it. I reverted all of that, and I went back to left it as it was. There was no real gain in redesigning it, but there's a few things I did. Put a nice logo on the back now. Yay, KiCad. So it's all in KiCad now. So better labeling on everything. Move some of the resistors around. And one of the key things I did, I know it's not a big deal, is I lowered the LEDs on this side. So they come pre-populated, these sideways LEDs, and I lowered them. And then I also redesigned the case and the front panel. So the case and front panel are slightly bigger now. And what I've done is the PCB now sits inside, you might not be able to see, it sits inside the back of the case rather than just sitting on the back like on the old version. On the old version, it was just a sandwich of acrylic, 3D print, and then PCB at the back to hold it together. But now the PCB sits inside. So you don't see that the slightly discolored edge of the PCB on it, which looks nice. And then I made the front plate, obviously that's got paper on it still, the front plate bigger to accommodate for that. And so what that means is, through all of that, is that I also made new LEDs, oh my god. I also made new DEFCON digits. Now you can kind of see them, this might be some moving camera, well it will be. You might see that those digits you can't really see them, but they're too tall. Because this is my original Whopper, or my previous version Whopper. So, but let me just show you now, if I take one of the digits out. So one of the complaints I had on the previous version was that the digits, hang on, okay, I am going to say hi to everyone in chat first. I'm just waiting to let some more people come in first. I'm just going to screw one of these cases together so I can show you what I did. It's cool. So the Hate Electronics, the the digits, oh my god, the DEFCON digits didn't sit in very well. They were loose, like you kind of had to glue them in, but they were also really small, and so they didn't even have any stability really in those slots. And so I changed that. I've made these digits, they're like almost twice as big. Then the holes are deeper, and they're also a tighter tolerance. They're not super tight because I was getting some flex on the PCB. I like pie. Yum, I love pie. Depends on pie. What pie? Apple rhubarb. Any of the berries ones, yay. Okay, so this is the new one assembled. So you can see the PCBs on the inside. Maybe you can see. And then, so these gaps, these holes are much deeper now. So this digit, which is much taller, sits in really nicely now. Like it'll still fall out if you tip it upside down. Like if you want to glue it, you can glue it, but it's got stacks of hold in there. Like it won't come out like it used to. Am I in Reykjavik time? No, so well, I'll show you what I did. I'm not sure if Larry is going to be joining us, Larry Blank, but he wrote this really cool bit of code that lets you get your GMT time. Hey Michael, yeah, I got them out. I'm trying to get everything out same day that I get the orders in at the moment. It's pretty hectic doing that, but yeah, I like to get orders out straight away if I can. Right, so where were we? Let me go through chat and say hi to folks. So let's start off with Alan. Good morning, Dutch Taurus. Hello, Antonio. Yumbo Prime. Hello, Kevin. Graham was up early this morning. I apologise. I'm sorry for the earlier start. I'm trying to split the difference between earlier start for us and not too much later for the folks overseas. David Dessa, hello, Crazy Roops. Gerald 42, whoopee. Dave Harris, hello. Christopher, Andre, hello. Embedded Hobbyist, hi. Christopher Bransdale. Andy Mouse, sorry. Got the eye jitters. Life in Cycling, hello. Scott L, hi. Mr. England, hi. Paul Project, g'day Paul. Andy Day, hello. Garrett Kelly. Dishipoo, yay. Coding on coffee is bad enough. Coding on coffee is great. Anything on coffee is great. It depends on how... Coffee for me isn't much of a stimulant, unfortunately. Maybe it's just not strong enough anymore. Hello, Pat. Hello, frame rate 24. I have a rule, no opening any code files until there's one entire cup of coffee. Sure. Well, I couldn't really be making coffee at 3 o'clock in the morning at my home because the machine's loud. Would have woken up everyone in the house. Same goes for CAD. No, the rule is just never open any CAD files, ever. Coffee or not. Hello, Ray. Beata, hello. Teletronics, already said hi, but I'll say hello again. Andrew Grow, hello. No worries, Andrew. It's tough picking a time that everyone can, yeah, see it. Sorry, I can't even think this morning. And I said hi to Michael, so hi again, Michael. Oh, my elbow's going to click. Oh, did you hear that? Clickety click. I'm getting old. Arthritis. Whoa, yeah. So, okay. Let's just go back to here. So, maybe that one. Right. So I've been setting up defines for different buttons. I think I've missed some. What are these ones down here? Oh no, that's right. That's just the initializing the buttons. Okay. So let me show you what Larry did. It's pretty cool. I know there are other ways of doing this, but the problem is finding something that's reliable. And I can't guarantee this is going to work for everyone, but it's one of the first ones that's worked for me. For some reason, most websites that do geolocation based on IP address and stuff never picks my IP address from here. Like sometimes it says it's in New Zealand instead of Australia. It gets the region wrong quite a lot. So this is the first one where it actually has picked mine correctly. Let me just open this. Okay, so Larry wrote, it's on GitHub. I'll post the link. It's pretty cool. It's just called RTC Setter. It's just it's not a library. It's just an example project. And basically it is to, it uses one of the Dallas RTCs, and it's got an LCD display, and he's using his LCD library, and it goes through and it uses some websites it uses one website to obtain your IP address, your global IP address, as in the router based one. So if I just on my Wi-Fi get my IP address on my TinyS3 on the Whopper, it doesn't give me my router address, it gives me my local IP address, which is pointless, right? I need my router address. So it gets you your router address, and then you pass that in and you ask for the UTC offset, and it gives you your GMT. And it works really well. So he wrote this whole thing, except obviously it's got all the RTC stuff and the library, the LCD library stuff and everything in it. So I can't use this. But I spoke to him and he said, well, this is for a different project, right? For him, there's a different project. So I asked him if I could just rip out his functions, and he said, yeah, sure, no problem. So what I've done is I've put his functions into the Whopper code, and I've just stuck his copyright stuff at the top. I should probably move this down. And so that's just his copyright things. But basically, this address here, if you pass it the IP address of your router, right, your internet facing IP address, with this, it comes back, in my case, with GMT 10, right, plus 10, and it, like the other week, it came back with 11 because we were on daylight savings and now we're not. So this also handles the daylight saving offset as well. Right, NTP does, but I don't have, well, not necessarily, no, you don't have to set the region. You can just initialize NTP with, anyway, you'll see what I've done. So I already had NTP and stuff in this library, but it was messy because you had to manually set your GMT setting, because it didn't know, and you had to also manually set whatever offset was for daylight savings or not. All of that's been ripped out now. Well, I'm in the middle of ripping it out, but it's kind of, I broke some things. Right, so the whole idea is this clock's designed to go on Wi-Fi, or the W.O.P.R. The W.O.P.R is more than just a clock, right? It's got the missile code stuff in it and everything else. But when it's in its general clock mode, the whole device, when it boots, it goes into Wi-Fi. So I'll show you now. Let me go to this screen. For those that haven't seen it, I know it's blurry. Let me see if I can get rid of the blur. No. Okay, 1 second. Oh, there we go. How's that? Much better. Now you can see all the dust on the front as well. Yeah, it was just set to focus on the wrong spot. So if I'm going to just hit reset on the back of the board. If I can reach it without knocking all the things off. So when it boots, it does a trying for Wi-Fi. It connects to Wi-Fi. It then goes and grabs the time and then goes into menu. And after a while, the menu will time out and it just shows the clock. And the menu, you can go through, like you got different modes for what it's going to do. And then you've got a setting screen. So you've got movie mode, random mode, message mode, and mode clock. If I go to movie mode, for those that haven't seen it, it basically goes through the launch code sequence from War Games. Oh, why is it not beeping? Oh, I wonder if my audio shield. I need to get a different audio shield.
Geek says greetings, mortals.
Hey, Quixotic. Okay, so there's supposed to be beeping every lock-in of the code, like it does in the movie. Obviously, and we're currently at DEFCON 3. It changes the DEFCON values, but they're too bright, you can't see. Hey, Mad Techie. Yeah, I'll turn that down a bit. I forgot that that was running. Oh, almost got it. And then at the end, it launches the missiles. Well, it doesn't really. Yeah, it takes a few days to get out of the country. I'm pretty sure I only delivered it yesterday. Right, so it gets the code. We're at DEFCON 5. And then it's launching the missiles. Anyway, it doesn't actually launch the missiles. So when... Oh... So when it just times out, it just goes into clock mode, right? Okay, let's get back to this code because I broke it. So one of the things I forgot, why doesn't it launch the missiles? Well, it's not connected to Cheyenne Mountain anymore. I had to disconnect it. Something to do with the internet cost of sending data back and forwards to Cheyenne Mountain. Do it have an output pin there? Go high. Well, it doesn't, but you can. So on the back of the board, there are all the I/O that's not being used is broken out down the bottom. So you got SPI and I2C broken out there, and a bunch of other I/O. Oh, careful! Let's be politically correct. Let's not offend anyone. So yeah, you could hook up anything to those. They're just all spare I/O. You could have it talk to a relay or a servo or something and make it do something. Pull a lever, which pulls some string, which tips a bucket of water. Okay, to get your girlfriend out of bed. That's better. That's better. So yeah, you could definitely do something like that for sure. So what I forgot in this though, because it's been a long time. So for those that aren't aware, like is there a date on here? I've set it to 2023 now, but like I released my Whopper a long time ago. Like I don't even know. I didn't even have a. Did I just have Tindy at the time? Just not. I'm sorry. I'll ring up the CEO of Australia Post and have a go at them. I got to be honest. It's amazing how much crap I get from people when mail does take too long to get somewhere, or gets lost or whatever else. Like I'm personally responsible for Australia Post, and even if it like Australia Post handed over to the airline, it gets to the destination country, and then it just sits at the destination country unfound for weeks and weeks and weeks, and apparently that's my fault. So anyway, whatever. Gives elevation bed a whole new meaning. You gotta like pump. Oh, can I tell you? Oh no, okay. There was this film that I used to love. Oh, I can't remember what it was called. Anyway, it was about this doctor was trying to genetically rebuild his wife or something. She'd passed away, and his lab assistant guy, he would never get out of bed in the morning, and so they put electrical wires onto it was like a metal bed frame, and if he didn't get out of bed after like the third buzzing of the thing, they would electrocute the bed with him in it. It was just awesome. Anyway, I'm not sure why I'm telling you all that except for the electrocution part. Yeah, probably. That's the thing, right? And that last 30 kilometers, right, for post NL to get it to you, I get in trouble for. Okay, so you need that, what, to get electrocuted to get out of bed? No, don't do that. Yeah, shipping's got much better now since COVID, but it's nowhere near what it was like before, pre-COVID. I don't think it'll ever get back to that state. So anyway, I forgot. I don't know when I added it, but I had the ability to load and save settings in spiffs, and I totally forgot that I was saving the DST, whether that was turned on or not, and the actual GMT setting that the user set in code. And so what was happening was it was going through, it was getting the GMT correctly, but it wasn't using it because it was using the version from the save file. And so part of me wants to keep the ability to change it just in case the web thing gets it wrong, but it's a problem having both. I need to clean up how that works. So when the thing boots, it does a load settings, and for the moment I'm going to get load settings to not load the GMT setting. I'm just going to disable that for the moment. Okay. And by default, I'm going to make the GMT setting, okay, it's set to -100. So what my code should do is when it does it boots into Wi-Fi, and I've got this update GMT from NPT. Wow. NTP would be better. This is why you don't code at 3 o'clock in the morning. Whoop. Okay, replace all. There we go. And so what that should do is it grabs your IP, external IP address, and if it gets it, it then gets the time offset using those two functions in here. And it should print those out, and then it should set that. And right now it's going to do a save settings. So let's see if this works. Now I have a feeling that I'm not going to be able to flash it. I think I've got an old TinyS3 in here. We can try.
Super chat!
Hey, crazy boy. Thank you. 2,282,585 seconds until Christmas. God, that sounds like a lot. I know we're talking about seconds. But the 2 million. Time feels like it's going way faster than that. Why not just get UTC and let user set offset? If they have a VPN, that time will be buggered anyway. Was it 2020? I thought it was 2019. I did the Whopper, but maybe it was 2020.
Crazy Boy formerly Optic says, can you get that on the Whopper?
Not that many words. I mean, well, yeah, I could do like, you know, 2 as a digit, absolutely. So how are you getting that? Is that from a website? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to put it in download mode. Yay. I need to solve what's happening with the audio shield as well. If there's like a way to get that off the internet, then I can definitely put that on there. Copyright on the card is 2020. Right, but was that a Hacksaw edition? I think that was the Hacksaw edition one, and the model before that was, I'm pretty sure it was 2019. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's been a few years. Okay, flashing. We should see if we can get some serial output. Okay, right. So the Hacksaw was the second version. I'm going to have to hit reset. So the only TinyS3 I had with headers already on it was an old original one. Right, so it gets a +10, and now it's in the time 6:59. There you go. Okay, so now the time is correct because I'm not stomping the GMT thing. And if it goes into clock mode, which it will, it'll time out. The time should be fine. Nicely warm and snuggled up in bed, but left my drink on the other side of the room. No! I do that quite often. Like, I'll get into bed and I'll be nice and relaxed. I'll be reading and doing whatever else and realise that I haven't done something and have to get back out of bed again. It's frustrating. Come on, timeout. Come on, clock. I don't know how long the timeout is. I should shorten the timeout. Shorten the timeout. Come on. I should also see if I can... I'm just trying to adjust the clock, the screen output to make it not so bright on the digits. Anyway, 701 is correct, 701. There's a ton of them. Just Google seconds until Christmas. Okay. Hey, Bill. Okay, I'll have a look at that shortly. So that's working now, right? So it's set the time correctly, 7:01:33. And everyone can see my public address, which is whatever. Days until Christmas.co.uk. No, I need something that's an API, not something that... right, something that pops up like this isn't good for me. Oh, unless this, that does minutes until Christmas Day. But I need something that doesn't have all the ads on it. Yeah, no, I need an API. Do the UTC of Christmas, sure. Just be nice if there was an API call I could just do. That'd be very cool. Okay, so that's working, and then it should have saved that value. Now, if I go into settings, right, GMT 10. So I can still change this here. So if I set it to 11, Yeah. You push and hold, and whenever you set the right, it's going to set it back to 10 now because I am uploading it. Right, you push and hold to save. Okay, so and I've also got, I put in the menu anyway the ability to, in the settings, to do a force update GMT. So if I do that, it goes and grabs it and sets it. Right, so there's no way out unless I save. Interesting. Might have to tweak that as well. Doesn't Oz have half-hour time zones? Yeah, I think some of the states might. I don't live in one, so I don't know how that works. This is an API. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, Alan just pointed to this. But where's the API? Does it not list what other things I can do? Get days, get seconds. Oops, can't spell. No matching endpoint. So there's no seconds. So yeah, I need something that does seconds. Days to Christmas, 265. Oh god. Maybe it's abbreviated. Mins, sex, no. How do you get the is there any help? No. Okay. This just does days, it looks like. I know I can convert that to seconds, but still. It's also quite slow. I can put it in. We can try it. Oop. Do a void get days, no, get seconds until Xmas. Probably want to cache the IP address. And I don't know what the temp is for. Okay, let's cache the IP. Struff. Okay. Not every minute has 60 seconds. What? Yeah, we just need it to be close, I think. Okay, so that should be storing that already, and then we want to go get time offset. We're going to also make a oh no, we don't need the IP. What did we need? We don't need the IP address. Oh god, I'm an idiot. We're going to do get days until Xmas. Right.
Geek says time zones are hard.
Time zones are hard. Okay, I want to get that, and then we want to payload. I'm going to say days, I'll say response, and then we want to, what are we getting back? We actually want the string because I want to do a int colon. Did I spell colon? So people using the old summertime, some of the delayed two sometimes at once. Wow. Equals payload dot index of right, because I want to get the colon, and then I want to get. I don't want to convert it to JSON. I don't want to include a JSON parser just to parse that. Okay, so what we're getting back is this. We're getting that back. Is that big enough for everyone to see? So I don't want to like add a JSON library just to parse that. I want to and I want to go int bracket equals string days equals payload dot substring colon +1 bracket minus colon. I hope that'll give me from the next character of this, and then the number of digits will be the bracket position minus the colon position. Hopefully. I don't know. And then we just want to, might as well print it just to make sure. Print the response, and then I want to print days. And then we're going to return can I do that? Can't remember. Okay, clean that up. Do you use the TM structure to store the information got from the... Yes, I do. I'll go through that in a moment. Okay, get days until Xmas. Int, that'll be longer. If days is greater than -1, because it'll return -1 if there's an error. Seconds equals 0. Seconds equals days times 24 hours in a day times 60 minutes times 60 seconds. Is that right? Do I have that right? Seconds? I hope so. Eight, 6, 400 in a day. What? 24 times 60 times 60. 8, 6, 400. There you go. Okay. So when it gets... So once I've grabbed this value, I'm then doing config time. Yeah, which sets it. Where do we save that? I save mine in a jar, and then I use it here. I'm going to do a display text. Get seconds until Christmas. I want it to return back. Return string. Return seconds plus I don't think that'll fit. We'll just try that, and that should display it on the thing. We'll display it for 2 seconds. S2x time. Be done as an int. What? Right. I can just do that. Let's just try it. I'm going to put it in download mode. So I still have to solve the saving and loading and changing of the GMT stuff, but oh, it doesn't like. Oh, right. Oh, what is it? A 2 int? How do I parse .2 int? God, I can never remember. Not all days are equal. No, it's just going to be close. Unless someone can give me an API of how to get the seconds, where it actually calculates it correctly. Why can't I do that? What? Oh, this is a void. That's why. Silly Sion. You make for great bugs if you assume all of them are. Yeah, well, I could just do a random. Like, I could do times 86,400 plus random 5. Yeah? 10. How many seconds do I need to randomize it by? I mean, that could be fun. Picking a random seconds until Christmas. But as you get closer to Christmas, it'll be more accurate, right? Right? Maybe? Yes? No? Okay. One day, Espresso might fix this press reset bug thing. Okay, trying Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi good. 0 seconds until. Okay, I got a 0. Oh, I got days. Whoops. You got the YS. How did that work? Wait, that's not right. First colon. I'm getting index of the colon. You want the second. What? There's only one colon. This is the response here. There's only one colon in the response. That's me printing. That's something else. Oh, hang on. It's got... Wait, it grabbed all that. Huh? It's easy to have it. It's not off by 2. It grabbed all of this. So it's not off by 2. Colon. Bracket. No, because it's a string. We're getting back a string. So we're not looking at the char of it. You just use quotes. Yeah, maybe the first one did return a 0. I don't know, but it shouldn't have. It got the response, right? Well, Alan, you're free to add that if you want. I'm not going to add everything to this, but yeah. Some programs, all those features in. Where's the fun hacking the display? Exactly. I'm going to get this in, the setting of the GMT, get that saving working, and then I'm going to republish it today for those that have got their Whoppers on the way, because probably half have ordered. Half have ordered with Tiny Picos and half have ordered with TinyS3s. So colon plus bracket minus colon. No, the issue right now is the first one. Let's just see what they get. What do you mean get it in the EU? None of my stuff you can get in the EU. Colon 20, so that's right.
Geek says cute napped.
Good night, Quixotic. Have a good sleep. So this is right. So it's the substring that's wrong. But it should be grabbing 21, and then it should be grabbing 24 minus 21, which is 3. Electrons, no, I've added it in there, but it's not public right now because I don't have enough stock. So as soon as I get the order from LCSC is already shipped with my buttons and my headers, and once they arrive, I've got a whole bunch of more Whoppers to put in stock. So yeah, you'll be able to buy it from Electrons and from Tindy, as well as my own web store. I don't know, hopefully by end of this week if that package arrives. I don't want to list them until I've physically got the parts here. I've been caught doing that before. So I don't want people buying them and then me having to wait. Substring takes a start and an end. Is that Orjan? I don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize. No, so it doesn't say substring take a start and a length. Maybe it takes a start and an end. Arduino string substring. Oh, right. It takes a start and an end, not a start and a length. Right. Okay. Thank you. There you go. So I just want... So it took it backwards. I want start to the end, but I don't want the brackets -1. Okay, let's try that. Thanks, Scott. And thanks, Orjan. I definitely got your name wrong. I apologize. You know, there aren't many people that can get away with getting people's names wrong. I'm one of them because look at my name. Like, seriously. 90% of people who have never heard of me before or know or have heard my name pronounced get my name wrong. So, you know, fair, right? What, is there a sub STR? Didn't even know that either. Okay. Here we go. Reset. Okay. Trying Wi-Fi. Connected. Offset. 0 seconds. Right. I got the 26. Wait. Close. Okay. I don't want the minus. Damn it. Either way, 26. Right, so the sub STR takes the start and count, and substring takes the start and end. Right, I had those back to front. So why? Okay, that was 26, but why did my seconds? Why'd I get? Days is greater than -1. Days is 26. So maybe it didn't like this cast. Is it that? Hey Eric, substring does a search, not a cut. Look at how to split a string in an array. But how do you pronounce your name though? You might be used to getting it mangled, but I'd still like to pronounce it correctly if I can. Okay, let's just... What's going on here? What am I asking them? How to pronounce Orjan's name? Or how to, That's okay. Come on, flashy, flashy. Oh, he's a very Scandinavian character. I'd love to hear how it actually is pronounced, though. I know that's not going to work. But, okay, so... Connecting, connected. Oh, there we go. Did you see that? Except it's too big. The number's too big. But I got it 22,896,000 seconds. And I think I'm going to have to change this to be Xmas in because it didn't fit. Okay, but that worked. It displays how many days until... Okay, so we can just get rid of these now. Hey Max, how you doing? Okay, so that works, that works. I now need to decide what I'm doing with the... So it gets the GMT and saves it, but then we want to load it. So we do want to load it though. So I have to turn the loading of that back on again in case the user has changed it. Now we don't need this daylight savings setting anymore because it doesn't matter. You do it via the GMT. Fine, set DST. Oops. Really? What's that F I just did then? Oh. Okay, so two, three, four. Getting rid of that. We don't need these anymore. So, nope. Okay. Late is okay. No problems with late. Okay, let's load this in. Your mistake can be used either way. Okay. Okay, so this should not update the time from online. I should actually add something so we know that we're getting Oops, not there. Display, text, getting GMT. Getting GMT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've only got 12 characters. Getting GMT. So we know we're calling it. We know we're doing it now. So let me just refresh that. Yeah, that's from their example. Okay, come on. Now I think Cable Tie is not around. I don't think he added the or sound like Oh. So Erjan. Okay. Thank you. I think he added some. He had a fork of this where he put an alarm clock in it. I don't know. That would have been a cool feature, but I'm not going to do it. Okay, so trying Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is good, so it should not go right. Xmas in. Yeah, it still doesn't fit. Okay, so it did not go and grab the GMT that time. As you can see here, it just did the Christmas thing. Because it loaded it from the file. So if I go to settings, GMT is 10, and it knows that because it saved it from last time. But if I go here and like force it, actually no, we'll go back. If I set it to 13 and I save that, right? Okay. Time set OK. This will now, whoops, clock. This is wrong now because it's the GMT set wrong, right? But if I go into settings and tell it to update from there, it should grab 10. GMT now 13. Why is it saying GMT is now 13? GMT is not is now. Why is it? Oh, IP info failed. Right, it didn't. Maybe I hit it too many times. Maybe am I not clearing? Could be because when I set it, it saves it. And then maybe the Wi-Fi. Oh, Cable Tie is here. Hello. Interesting. So if I just reboot it, it must be, it's failing to do a Wi-Fi client connect. And that's probably because the way I restart it. So it thinks it's 13, right, from the file. I I know, a bit hard to see with the reflection, sorry. And then if I tell it to do it now, it hasn't done a client, Wi-Fi client call yet. So this might work this time. No, IP info failed again. So it does it at the start. Wonder what's going on. I can put that back in here now because I don't need that. Hey Johnny, how did your deploy go? So why is it not? I just realized I also need to do this. A 30-minute deploy that took 1 hour and 20. That's okay. RTC later, you can check the oscillator stop flow. Yeah, I'm not using an RTC. I'm using the RTC that's built into the ESP32. So yeah, it works a bit differently. I just don't understand why it's failing in here to get. It's failing here. I wonder if it's just because I've hit it too many times. Doesn't look like it. Weird. See that? So it's failing to get the IP. And I don't know why. Interestingly, he's doing this differently. So he's doing a Wi-Fi client connect on it here. And then doing a get, like, and he's parsing it from JSON when he could just be doing it like this. Just using HTTP client. So let's see if we can do a new, let's do a get IP on just whatever. Okay, and the on that. We're going to get the payload, and then we want to print the payload, and then we're going to return the payload. No, we want it to be in okay. Pass the IP address we want. No, can't we just do this? Can't we just return we don't even have to we're not returning it, we're just going to no, equals payload dot to C string, and is it C string? I think so. No. Dot C string, and return true or return false. And we don't need those, so it's a payload. So maybe we can just do get IP on. Let's try this. I don't know, we'll try this. So I don't know why it's not coming through. Anyone watching still? 45 people watching apparently. Yay! What's wrong with this? Hey, Mr. Mark, hello. Yay. Hey Peter, how you doing? Sorry, indigestion. Cold dregs of coffee. There's no at. You don't do at. Exclamation mark. Hey, Rob's here. Hello, Rob. I didn't know you were here lurking. How you doing, mate? I hope you're well. Hope Steph's well. Okay, go, build, go, go. Okay. Reboot. Connected. Okay. Settings. Here we go. My IP. Well, that doesn't look good. That didn't look good at all. Should be false. So we don't even need those, but right, so that didn't even work. I should print the response, shouldn't I? Returning a pointer to a local variable, that will not work well. That's also true. But it didn't even get to the printing bit. It didn't even get to this bit. So I reckon there's a problem with the response I'm getting. So I just want to return payload. Oop. No, don't do that. I'm going to say string IP doesn't equal jar. Oh no, I don't need to do that. Just need to do IP.c string. This used to work. Well, the IP stuff works if it does it at the start, but it wasn't working if I told it to, if I force updated it for some reason. So I'm trying to solve that right now, but I'm probably doing it the wrong way. Every time. I could just make it a const. Sure, you shouldn't have HTTP at the start? What? Oh, probably. Yeah, that might help. Well, yeah. I don't know, actually. Does it need it? Maybe the Arduino stuff needs it. Like it doesn't just on the command line. But we'll find out now. HTTP code -1. I'm getting a -1. So that's not good. But maybe because it needed that. So we'll try it. I'll recompile with it. It could be. That could be it, Johnny. You never know. Or it might not be. Hey, Pro Engineer. So after the stream today, I am doing RF stuff all day. My favourite thing in the world to do. That'll be 3 days in a row. Every day, starting from scratch. Ah. Okay. This reflection on the screen is crazy. Okay. Settings. We go. Oh, it's doing something. It's taking a bit longer than normal. Nope. HTTP code -1. So this, I don't know what's happening here, but I mean, it's set to -1 to start with, but that's not... Obviously, I can't do it this way. That could be why he's doing it like this. It's really weird. Smith charts. Ah, no. It's, yeah, anyway. This is frequency tuning, not impedance tuning I'm doing. I'm tuning antennas, not tuning impedance matching. It's kind of one and the same, but I'm not trying to, I'm not matching from 50 ohms to the impedance on the L and A pin of the chip. I'm tweaking where the center frequency is sitting on an antenna. And it's painful. No, I don't want... I want it to come back just like this. It should just return a string. But I don't know what curl does. Like, it's obviously adding extra header stuff. And maybe that's what it needs. And I don't know, like... Right. But it's... I don't know what header stuff's being sent to it. Just make them too long and then cut bits off. Make what too long and cut them off? No, it's not a PCB antenna. This is an actual antenna. Can't cut bits of the antenna off. I'm going to undo all of my stuff because it ain't working. And put it back to his one. I just don't know why his method is not being called. I'm just going to comment mine out for the moment. See, if I let his one run at the start, okay, if that equals that, or true, then you'll see it update itself. You'll see it work. You could make the antenna too long, then fold the end over. Yeah, I can't cut the antenna. I can't fold the antenna. It's not an external antenna. It's a antenna soldered onto a board. Yeah. It's quite complicated, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm not going to go into it right now. Like it's full on complicated. My YouTube bot just died, as it does. Right, so if I do it on boot, Wait, what happened there? Did that not update? Try that again. Reset. Connected. Right, my IP. So it gets the IP address. When it does it on a boot, it gets the IP address. Now I could just store the IP address, right? I could have it get the IP address regardless and just store it, even if it doesn't get the time zone. But if I do it from here, settings, and do an update from here, see that? It fails to get it. So I think what I need to do is I'm gonna have to make put this out here. And if I tell it to grab the IP, full get time offset if no, actually I don't want to do that. I want to separate these out. Ah, this is doing my head in. I don't know, Pro Engineer. That part's not my code. Is there any chance that the Christmas stuff is maybe? I'll get rid of that and I'll try it without that. It could be. No, I'm not matching the antenna impedance to the output, to the chip output. That's not what I'm doing in Better Hobbyist. I'm tuning the antenna. Two different matching networks. Matching network for impedance, matching network for antenna frequency. Right? I'm tuning the impedance and frequency of the antenna to make it sit at 2.45, regardless of any chip or any impedance matching. Two different matching networks on the one board. So it has nothing to do with impedance to the chip, unfortunately. Okay, so now it shouldn't set it. Okay, Wi-Fi good, and it should be doing it just based on, it says it's 802, right? Because it's stored in the file. Is that right? And then if I tell it to here, no, IP info failed. So whenever I try to call it from here, it's failing. It's also taking a while. Not really. In Better Hobbyist, like for some antennas, sure, right? In my case, it's a fixed antenna. It's like a Hang on. You're not going to be able to see it. It's tiny. But there's a little antenna on here. And, right, just there. Okay, it's a chip antenna. It's fixed. And its center frequency is not 2.45. There's no such thing as an antenna that's got a center frequency that is correct when you stick it on a PCB. And so, therefore, there is a T match right before the antenna. Hang on. This is not what I thought we were going to be doing here today. Let me just... I don't even know if that's going to be on. Or if you're going to be able to see. It's upside down. 1 second. And what do you call it? It's on the screen. The mouse, I must have knocked the mouse. Okay, here we go. So, is that even? It's visible, good. Antenna. That here is a match specifically for the frequency tuning to adjust the center frequency of this antenna. It has nothing to do with the chip or the impedance match. Okay, I can't tune the length of this. Okay, they all require matching components. Right, I can't adjust the length, so therefore it uses components to orient the frequency, to adjust the center position of the frequency, to adjust the width of the curve, and to adjust the return loss. All of that is specifically for the antenna. Nothing to do with impedance match. Every antenna that you put on a board requires this. There isn't one that doesn't require it, but no one does it. No one bothers. You get what you get on the board. The problem is my boards are too small. If you look at everyone's antennas, and I've been dealing with Johansson now for like over a month, and Ignian and Pulse and other people, every single one of their antennas, if you look at their reference board for them, right, they all require a clearance before the ground plane of bigger than my board, and then a ground plane for radiation, antenna radiation, that's 4 times bigger than that. So if I was making a board that was this big, sure, no problem. But my boards are tiny, and so it's impossible for me to stick any antenna on my board and not have to tune the antenna, because the frequency of the antenna is going to be wrong because it's out of spec, right? Johansson have got like 10,000 antennas in their product range. Do not have an antenna that you can stick on a board that doesn't require components to adjust the center frequency. And then on top of that, I have the issue where the antenna wants 50 ohms and my chip doesn't. And so two different, you think you can work in isolation, frequency of the antenna, impedance of the chip, but they affect each other. So you tune one and then one doesn't work, you tune the other and that doesn't work, but you can't work on them as 6 unique components. So this is a real thing in Embedded Hobbyist. Like, this is, and I've been now going on, like, I'm just trying to find a combination of an antenna and a that's not correct. Every frequency has an impedance. So if you've got 2.4 to 2.5 gigahertz, and let's do a point, like every single point along that 2.4 to 2.5 is an impedance. And I'm tuning the impedance to adjust the frequency. And you're not correct, because I've been doing it for the last I don't know how many months, but the last 3 days I've been sitting there and I can take this curve, take this return loss, look where my center of the return loss is, and by changing these components, I can change the shape and the position, right, of that, and I can push things up and I can push things down. And it has nothing to do with the physical size of the chip. The antenna chip stays the same. That's what these components are for. Anyway, you can disagree with me all you want, but it's real. It's in their data sheets. I've been dealing directly with Johansson and with Ignian about this. Okay, great, but I'm... So one of us is wrong. So either you're wrong, or I'm wrong, Ignian's wrong, and Johansson are wrong. So, you know, we can have a debate about this all you like, but so here's the antenna I'm using. No, it's 18D. Hang on. I want 18B. Damn it, hang on. au.mauser. Go away. au.mauser. Where's 18B? 18. Oh my god. Okay. 18B100. Okay. And is an antenna, they all work the same. Incorrect. Sorry, you're wrong. Look at the data sheet. Very clear. Okay. Without matching circuits, with matching circuits, this matching circuit here is not impedance matching. Okay? Without and with. And without, right, this is sitting at 2.76 gigahertz, the frequency. And with the matching circuit, it is sitting at 2.47 gigahertz. The antenna hasn't changed. The length hasn't changed. Nothing about the antenna's changed. They've shifted the center frequency of this antenna with these components. So you're telling me that this isn't real, and I'm showing you in their data sheet it is real, and I'm showing this is the effect of that. So, you know, and again, I've been working directly with Johansson on this for like weeks. So they even provide their chips, with their antenna simulation models with and without the matching. Their expectation is that on a 50 ohm trace on a board, if you buy this antenna and you want it to be for 2.45 gigahertz, then you must put this match on it to get the antenna at 2.45 gigahertz. And this has nothing to do with the frequency matching, right? And to add another thing onto that, oh, that's not going to be logged in. To double down and prove the point that this has nothing to do with impedance matching, radiated part of the antenna has not changed. You might have... But the radiated part of the antenna has changed. It has, you can see on the graph it's changed. Anyway, I'm not even going to load this other stuff. Okay. I don't know why this code isn't working after a reboot. Remember, you can get board-mounted antennas that do multiple frequencies. Require this to tune to that frequency. Absolutely. But every antenna requires tuning components. That's the problem, right? And you generally have to dig in the data sheet. Anyway. And because I've got 4 different boards I'm doing this on, and each of the boards is different, they've got different clearance, they've got different ground for radiation, they've got different everything, I need to adjust the center frequency of for the antenna on every board, right? Maybe the problem's related to HTTP 1.1. No, because it boots, it does it on the boot, it just doesn't when I run it separately. When I call it here, it doesn't work. When I do it on the button press. But when I do it when it starts up, it does work. So something's happening to the Wi-Fi afterwards. Maybe I'm killing the Wi-Fi at the end. Wait. We're connected. Maybe I'm killing the Wi-Fi. I just didn't even think of that. Oh my god, I'm killing the Wi-Fi at the end. And that's why it's not working. Oh! Kaboom! Anyway, embedded hobbyist, we can call this what you want, however you want to describe what is or isn't working, right? This antenna on my board, or any antenna on my board, is not on the correct frequency, okay? The frequency has to be adjusted. Now, is it possible to do the impedance match and the frequency adjustment at the same time on the same match? It is. Right? And maybe that's the bit that you're getting confused about. Then you're saying it's just in a match, right? But in my case, I can't, because my impedance match also has to include a low-pass filter to suppress the secondary and third and fourth and fifth harmonics. And therefore, that match cannot be used to adjust the frequency of the antenna. If I do that, I end up at 2.9 gigahertz and Wi-Fi doesn't work, right? So I need a match that tunes the antenna, and I need a match for the impedance and low-pass filter. If it wasn't an ESP32S3, or if it was a chip with a 50 ohm pin, then this matching network and impedance matching adjustment for the board is one and the same, right? But I would still need this, even if I don't need an impedance match. Let's just say my stack up is perfect, my feed line is exactly 50 ohms, for whatever reason, nothing on my board is affecting my impedance, and I have a 50 to 50 match, right? I still need these components to make my center frequency be correct for Wi-Fi. Max. No, this is giving me, well, okay, that's what I'm saying. This is giving me the frequency I want at 50 ohms, but I don't want 50 ohms. I want 35J0 with a low pass filter to suppress harmonics. And I cannot do that on the antenna. So this frequency here is to get me to 50 ohms. If it was a 50 ohm chip, this is all I would need, yes. But that's not all I need. That's why I have 6 components on my board. I need a CLC for my impedance match as a low pass filter for 35J0, and I need this to set my center frequency at 50 ohms. So I'm tuning the antenna for 50 ohms. I can't tune this antenna for 35J0 because this antenna doesn't work at that. The antenna has to be tuned for 50 ohms. So if there are two matches, one is to tune the antenna, one is to do the chip. And it's proving problematic. At the end of the day, whatever, this is what has to be done, and it's an absolute slog. And very frustrating, and I've asked, and no one can tell me why they can't just make a chip, make an antenna that has what it needs inside the antenna. No, there's no Whopper thing. That the antenna is tuned 2.45 at 50 ohms already. Like, I don't understand why that isn't a thing. Okay, so we know what the solution, we know what the problem is here. We can just leave Wi-Fi on. And this should just fix it. And I can't believe it. I can't believe this is all the problem was. I was turning Wi-Fi off. I'm an idiot. What I'm really looking for is someone I can just hand over all this RF stuff to, because I'm overcooked with all this stuff. Embedded Hobbies, you're right. Like, I'm way out of my knowledge, technical know-how field when it comes to all this stuff. Like, I am. And maybe I'm using my terminology wrong, but doesn't change the task I need to do. No, not an idiot, just want to conserve some energy. Yeah, well, I don't need Wi-Fi on if I don't need it on. Like, that's like, yeah. Okay, so I could always start Wi-Fi up again, but I don't want to. It's too slow to do that. Okay, Wi-Fi good. Time set okay. So if I set this to minus 12. And save that. It should reboot, whatever. It should set the time, which will be wrong now. Clock, yep, 10:21 instead of 8:21. And now and that's in the evening. If I now go to settings, and tell it to update, it should now update. See, GMT is now 10. And I haven't made it go back to the clock. Okay, but it's set to 10 now. Okay, I need to make it leave that screen. No. Wrong button. We should be back to the right time. Okay. Oh my god, that whole time I didn't have it on the screen. I didn't have that on the screen. Oh, when I did all that. Okay, anyway. Well, you saw it on the logs. Okay. 50 ohms. The mismatch is not very much. 21. I know 35 and 50 is not much, but I need to have the low pass filter there. The key is the low pass filter, unfortunately, to suppress the secondary harmonics and above, right? There's no point in me going, like, if I could just leave my boards as they are. I can source more of my Ignian antennas, the white ones now. I can just keep using those and keep shipping my boards as they are because they work great. But if I ever want to go into certification, if I have to suppress the harmonics, And to suppress the harmonics, I can't do it with this antenna, and I have to have a low pass filter on there. And so I might as well do the impedance match anyway to gain me those few dB back. Or chip providers should actually make their LNA pins 50 ohms and not have secondary harmonics issues in their chip. Yeah, that would be great. Then I could just take a 50 ohm antenna and put it on with a couple of components just to make sure it's sitting exactly at 2.45, right? Because of stack up variations and whatever, and ship it. But no. Anyway, it's annoying. Super annoying. Okay, so this works now. I just have to have it. It configs the time, and then it should. Let's get this RF stuff and just give everything on an Ethernet port and run cables everywhere. Yeah. Give it a delay of 2 seconds. Okay, this should be the last time. If this works, I'm going to ship it. This should hopefully put it back into clock mode. Have you turned the Wi-Fi off? Actually, that might not put it on clock mode. The thing to remember is a track has two circuit paths, the RF one on the top and one on the bottom, as they're isolated from the other by... You mean the ground, the return path of it? Is that what you're talking about? Oh no. Current mode equals clock. Okay, let's just reflash it and test it. Tiny Pico Ethernet if it was PoE. Yeah, so that's never going to happen, a Tiny Pico Ethernet at all. And definitely not going to happen a Tiny Pico Ethernet PoE, because an Ethernet connector alone, the downstairs, the Ethernet connector alone is more than half the size of my Tiny Pico. And the power requirements, power circuitry for PoE, even just for DIY PoE, is half the size of the board. So a Tiny Pico with Ethernet, even without PoE, wouldn't be a Tiny Pico anymore, because it would be 2.5 times the size. So, never really going to happen, right? Okay, reset. RF only goes a few tens of atoms into the conductor due to skin effect. Okay. Megapico. Not something you can do for his use case, but I assume this is why some folks use the modules for the PCB antenna room to avoid dealing with. Absolutely, Clef. I mean, I recommend to everyone, don't put bare chips on boards if you can put a module. And I've even got projects now that I am using modules on instead, because I just don't want to go through the heartache. Unfortunately, yeah, the PCB antenna, well, the module is just too big. I mean, that module there, which is the smallest they make, is more than half the size of my Tiny Pico. But the issue is compounded more on the S3 chip, because the S3 chip has secondary harmonics issues. And they're present on everyone's S3 boards that are not using modules, right? Like I've got other people's S3 boards. So, like, a very popular one at the moment is this little guy here. It's an S3 with a little screen on the back. Yeah, I mean, it's tiny, it's jam-packed. Let me tell you, it has got the worst RF. And it gets so damn hot because of it. Like, it's completely, there's no matching network on it. It's completely mismatched. And they've got a rain sun antenna, which is sitting, like, it's got so many components next to it, near it. Catch you later, Dave. It's, yeah. Like, they've got a screen on the other side of the antenna. Anyway, but it works. Like, it works for, you know, most people's use cases, right? That's okay. So, I mean, you can have no antenna on there and Wi-Fi is still going to work. It'll just be poor, right? It just comes down to how far you want to take the board, right? The second you solder some pins on this and plug anything into it, the Wi-Fi is going to degrade even more. So if you think about the braid on coax, the inside of the braid is different conductor to the outside of the braid at RF. Oh wow, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Wi-Fi work on a chip with antenna pin not connected to anything. Absolutely, right? It'll still radiate. It just radiates badly. But, you know, Wi-Fi is fairly forgiving under short distances, but you're just generating a lot of noise. What you're doing is you're damaging the chip, potentially damaging the chip, right? So, yeah. It's a tough call, but the S3 is the problem. So this thing, it radiates secondary and third, fourth, fifth, whatever else, insane. Like on my spectrum analyzer, I see secondary harmonics at 5 to 6, even up to like 9 dB higher than the 2.4-ish frequency range. And also this thing's sitting at about 2.75 or 2.8 as a center frequency. So it's like it does work on Wi-Fi, but you know your channel options are small and the distance you can use it from is like, yeah, not good. But that's okay. Again, if it works for your projects, no problem. But the S3 chip is just screwed with harmonics. TinyS2 module using the ground plane to radiate as the antenna connected with 100 degrees off, so signal directly shorted to ground. Still connected to cellular. I thought cellular was much more picky about that. So yeah, so JLC did accept my change to the boards. So they accepted the TinyS3 one, and it got produced, and I've got them back here now. That's what I'm working on at the moment. And I have updated all the other boards. I haven't submitted them yet. I need to solve the antenna thing first, and I'm only doing it on the TinyS3 to start with, because the boards are too expensive to keep making while I'm trying to work all this out. I need to get it solved on one, and then I can replicate that out. Modules are nice until you want to design a board smaller than the modules. Absolutely. But again, on the ESP32S3 case, the issue is compounded massively. It's not going to be a fun day, no. So, pre the S3, like I would have said to people, sure, put a chip down, stick an antenna on there, you stick a 0 ohm resistor, or not, don't even put a resistor, and don't even match it, and you'll be fine, right? As long as your stack up is right and everything else, don't worry about the mismatch between 50 ohms and whatever, as long as your antenna is close to 2.4, 2.5 gigahertz. But, yeah, can't do that on the S3. You can't do that reliably on the S3, and you can't, and again, I have to look at potential certification issues down the line. And maybe I just give up on the S3 and don't bother certifying it, and then just leave it as it is. I mean, it'd be nice on my current boards if I could shift the frequency a fraction. Right now, the higher channels work better on my boards than the lower channels. Like channel 6, which is the lowest, works, but it's because my center frequency is sitting a bit high. It's sitting at about 2.48 or 2.49, the center frequency, instead of 2.45. So for those that aren't aware, each channel, so channel, like, I think it goes up to 16, but the ESP32 can't go that high. But let's say like channel 6 to channel 12, right? Each channel is on a different center frequency. So like channel 6 is on like 2.43-ish, and then like channel 7 will be on 2.44, and then channel, whatever, all the way up to 2.47 gigahertz. So it's along that spectrum, right? So wherever your center of the frequency is, as the frequency comes back up, as this curve, so you look here like a center, right? Wherever, so this marker here, can I make that bigger? No. That marker here is 2.36, and this marker here is 2.59. So because of the curve, the further along the frequency you go on the graph, the worse, like there's more return loss, right? So that's why it's really important to get as close to the center as possible, so you can get the full spectrum of channels. So my boards work at 6, on channel 6. They do. They work. I do all my testing at 6, but they work better at 11. But I need to, I can't, unfortunately with these white antennas, it's not as simple to just shift it. They're just a coax of the screen, removed from the... I don't need to put a can over these chips. Or on my Nano I will, Nano S3 I will. Only on one of them I've got provision for a can, because it's a module. It's not a for the development boards, they don't need it. And if they're radiating, it's fine, so long as they're even radiating at their harmonics, because they'll like the low pass filter will still allow secondary and above harmonics to come through, but they'll be at a much reduced dB level. Like right now, the Wi-Fi center frequency is here. If it's up there, you want the harmonics to be here. You don't want the harmonics to be here or higher. Massive RAM, but the S3 has issues in CircuitPython, no matter the manufacturer. The same issue. I've been sticking with the S2. Right. The issue with CircuitPython is more on the IDF side than the CircuitPython side. The S3 has still got some teething issues. But even the S2 has still got some, especially if dropped the ball a little bit with IDF in terms of bugs and quality and stuff. Yeah, everything's built on top of the IDF, right? And it's not just CircuitPython. I mean, you know, we've still got the bug with the Arduino where you have to hit reset to get your code to run after you flash it. They've now pushed that to the next release, to fix it in the next release of the Arduino core. So yeah, it'd be nice when they fix all these things. So there's 3, so of course, that's right. Anything's, yeah, because everything's built on top of the IDF. And they're still having, CircuitPython's still having I2C issues though, which other platforms aren't having. It's just the way they're implementing. I don't know. That'd be nice if that got fixed. A quarter of a quarter of a quarter. Okay, I should actually, I meant to turn on the VNA this morning. Well, there's 2 hours of warm-up I didn't get on my VNA. That's frustrating. So the problem I've got right now with the matching is because of the size of the board, because of the minimal clearance I've got and everything else, right, that normally, like when you're working with even at the higher frequencies, but when you've got a really good radiation ground plane and you've got a really good clearance and you're to spec on the antenna, then when you're tuning the matching components, you can do small adjustments on the components to make small adjustments on the result. But the issue I'm having is because I'm so tight on this that the smallest steps I can make in my component adjustments, right, are making massive changes to the result. And trying to find a combination where, you know, by shifting the center frequency like 100 megahertz, I'm also getting I'm introducing either a 5 to 7 dB loss, or I'm rotating it, or I'm bringing in additional harmonics. And it's insane because, like, you know, there's only so many values of components you can get. With capacitors, you can get, 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, blah, 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 blah. It's not until you, well, even at the high values, you can almost get incremental, but with inductors, you can't, right? At that small level, like, you can't get a 1 nanohenry inductor and then a 1.1 nanohenry inductor and a 1.2 and a 1.3 and a 1.4. There are bigger jumps between them all. And even though the matching software I'm using and stuff works with ideal values, so like they'll only present a value that you can actually buy, which is great. You can't, like, even changing 0.25 of a nanohenry pushes something completely out on my board. And then that's not even including the fact that they've all got tolerances, and the tolerance in itself could be switching things the wrong direction, and it's becoming like the number of boards I'm going through, like, you end up destroying the boards, pulling parts on and off the pads, to trying to tweak them to try to measure the results to see what's happening. And then, after a day of doing that and getting maybe close but maybe not, you got to literally build more boards and start again of where you were on a fresh, clean board, because you start introducing other issues. Like, you can't even guarantee that the components are soldered correctly. Adding length will lower the resonant frequency, taking a bit off. Right, I don't know what... I know what you're saying in terms of adding length or reducing length. I don't know what the component combination does that simulates increasing length or reducing length. I don't know. All I know is tweaking 3 components where each component is not in isolation. So, you can't just have your graph and then say, okay, if I just change this component, it's just going to shift now. It doesn't work that way, right? Because they're all dependent on each other. It might shift, but it's also going to rotate. And so you need to then counter this one, rotate with counter this one, but then you're getting more of return loss, and you've got to counter this. You know what I mean? It's just, And every tiny little tweak I do is like a massive jump. It is. That's why I want to just pass this on to someone else, but I can't find anyone I can pass this on to. I don't need it ideal, but right now, I can't get any combination with this Johansson antenna to work as well as or better than what the boards I'm currently shipping right now. Right? And there's no way I'm going to move to a new antenna and ship something that that's inferior to what I'm currently shipping just to be able to suppress the harmonics, unless I'm going to certify. If I'm not going to certify, I'm not going to bother doing it, because it's just a waste. So that's the challenge I've got right now. I need to make this solution better. But the fact is, the antenna is half the size. And just by making the antenna half the size, it's got less gain, and it's less efficient. So I'm already behind the 8-ball moving to an antenna, and the reason I've got to go with smaller antenna is because I need to fit the frequency components on. The frequency tuning part to 50 ohms. And if I don't include them, I can go a bigger antenna, but then I'm not sitting at the center frequency I want. So I'm screwed either way, right? And this is the little Ignian one that I have the option of going for. Look how small the antenna is. It's tiny, right? That also requires 6 matching components. 6 matching components, 6 matching components. This board right now has 0 matching components and outperforms both of these. And that's infuriating. But I can't go through certification with it. So, yeah. If my boards are certified, I could get distributors in Europe. Right? People will be able to buy my stuff directly, or at least these, whatever certified, directly in Europe. And Mauser will start shipping to Europe again, and everyone will be happy, and, I could probably, double the amount of boards I sell. But it's not worth it if the boards end up being inferior because of it. The boards will be inferior, the BOM cost goes up, and my certification cost is horrific. It's just, yeah, I don't know which way I'm going to go. Is my P&P doing okay? Yeah, the line's a bit quiet at the moment. I just got a whole bunch of orders out a couple of weeks ago and built a whole bunch of stock for myself, and now I'm just, don't even need to run my Neoden at the moment, which is good. But stay tuned on that. More to tell at another time. No, not worth having 2 versions. The cost to certify is going to cost me like 20 plus thousand US dollars to certify the boards. So why would I do that only on half the boards? Then I'd have to, like, the cost per board would have to go up like $5, $6. Like, no one's going to pay an extra $6 for the board. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's got to be amortized across all of the boards. No, 20K's about right. My boards are quite, apart from, like, they're quite simple. Like, if you really think about it in the context of what they are. mean, the intentional radiator stuff is the most expensive part, and that's fairly simple. It's just, you know, to test. Tim Jarvis Radio CAD. Very good. What's that, Pat? Like, I totally regret delving into this RF side, but I also wouldn't have been able to make any of my boards if I hadn't. So, but it's just it's a, every day feels like a punch in the face, honestly. It's rough stuff. Rough stuff. I don't have a decade or 3 decades of experience in RF behind me like some of you on this chat do. But, you know, I just need to get to the finish line. I need to get to the finish line on a TinyS3 where I go, this board's working great. It's working at least as good, and my harmonics are suppressed. Ship it. Right? Then I'll be happy. In UK, best RF PCB here. But yeah, did some optimizing and stuff we sold. RF. So not was it Rich? Oh, what are they called? Can't think of the name. Not Rogers? I thought Rogers was the go-to. Yeah, I don't do that. I'm choosing straight up FR4. My boards, my BOM cost on my boards can't take the increased cost of doing a Rogers PCB or some other version PCB when that's not going to solve my problem. You know, anyway. I'm not that I've thought about giving up quite a few times actually. I'm generally not the type to give up. I give up for small periods of time at the moment because it's full on. Like I did like 7 hours yesterday, non-stop RF stuff. Like it got to the point where my hands were shaking when I'm trying to get components on and off, and I'm just churning through so many different components, and it's just slow going. Like the boards are going to be cleaned in between each test properly because you get extra capacitance coming in because of the flux on the components. Hey Austin. DIY RF isn't fun either because actually functional RF equipment is ridiculously priced. Right, well, yes, I've got a rather expensive V&A spectrum analyzer here. And yeah. Like I need to buy a new cal kit for it that allows me to do 5 gigahertz, so I can do 2.45, and the calibration kit is $9,000 US just for the calibration kit. So I've obviously hold off doing that. Hey Kim, it is still live, but I'm going to I'm slowly wrapping it up with talking about I'm talking about the RF stuff, so I don't have to do it, but I need to actually do it. That's true, Alan, except I also need to get it done. It's taken so long, and I'm running out of antennas, and I need to decide, am I going to invest in a shit ton more white antennas, or have I finally found an antenna that I can move to? I need to make that decision as soon as I can. Getting files and BOM. Good for audio. Ooh, yay. Ooh. So, for those that aren't aware, Austin streams all his schematic and PCB design stuff, and he's been doing super long streams recently, like bit loony long. Pro tip, if you like taking breaks, don't ever start your own business. No, that's not true. That's not true. Okay, so this code is working now. I'm going to tidy up some stuff, put some comments in it, and I'm going to publish this to GitHub, so you can all have a play with it. Feel free to fork it and fix it, change it, add more to it. Does your Neoden have the little paper fiducial for XY? The little paper fiducial. You mean the funny, the little thing with the funny holes and symbol on it that it uses for the XY homing? Is that what you're talking about? Where it uses the camera to go into the back to do it? That's what mine does. It's got a... No way. Really? Mine occasionally fails to home. I've reported this. I've shown them it happening dozens of times. Two little black squares in a circle. No, mine's different. Mine's a really odd shape. It's almost like a yin-yangy type shape, but not quite. It's two circles in a squiggly line that looks like it should form a circle, but it's not in a circle. It looks very... Yeah, it's bizarre. It's just a recognizable shape. And it's not paper. It's been cut out of metal. It looks like. It looks like it's been cut out of some stainless or something. But yeah, it's a similar thing. It calibrates off that. Sorry to hear yours has got homing problems. Did you buy it through a distributor or did you buy it directly from China? Hopefully you'll get some support and some help. I liked your video earlier, that thing about going to tab 3 and setting the comp 1 to same. Direct Neoden, their support is excellent. Direct Neoden China, and you're saying their support is excellent. Are you talking about Neoden US? What do you mean going to tab 3 and setting comp 1 to the same? Oh, right, yes, comp 1 has to be. Well, comp 1, the component 1 should be the thing that you've matched to on your panel setup. That's where it gets its calibration offset from. Yeah, the manuals are crap. Sorry, I can't say Neoden China's got excellent support, because they absolutely don't. Yeah. Well, maybe they do now. Maybe it took me to get them to give their other customers better support. But my Neoden's on the way out, and it's being replaced with something else. So stay tuned on that. I'll do a proper introduction on that when it all happens. Cool, good to hear it's placing something. You want it to home properly first though, right? Okay, I'm going, folks. Thank you for joining. Thanks for your help with the coding. I can't believe that Wi-Fi disconnect thing. Oh, excuse me. Oh, yay for it. Turny chair. Not a chance. Don't want to use the feeders. Don't want a Yamaha. And the only Yamahas that you can use the same feeders are really, 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 really old Yamahas. And I'm not interested in buying a relic. Well, it's too late. I've already bought a machine. So, getting what I'm getting now. So, there you go. Happy Easter, everyone. Thanks for joining on the stream. And, yeah. I'm going. Catch you later. Bye. Coffee time. Ending now.